skyrocketed, so a $600 pension 10, 15 years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him, and 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
Back at it again for another midday RTD Live Talk. Welcome, my name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk. Looking forward to having a little short back and forth this afternoon, finding out what's on your mind, what's happening in the news currently, and also to get your thoughts on a couple things that I'm going to throw out there to you guys and see what you think. So welcome to the show. For those that are new, let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to give you a shout out in the chat, as well as welcome you into the fold. And so, as always, trying something different. Going to try these midday streams. I actually just finished up a live stream over on Silver Doctors with Paul Half Dollar. And so I figured it'd be a great segment right into this live stream here to throw the same type of question out to you guys and see what you think. So, low blood pressure. I'm number one. Welcome. Spirit, how you doing, my friend? So I know it's still early over there for you over in Europe. Appreciate you joining us this afternoon. We got James. Dusty says, God bless. Low blood pressure. Hello at work, so won't be chatting much. Don't tell the boss. Yeah, keep that between me and you. Down in Corpus Christi, Texas. Appreciate you guys chiming in. So I want to throw out a question and just get your guys' thought and see what you think, because I think within the next year, 2 for sure, it will be a solution if it's not already. I'm just not aware of it. But the question I want to put out there for you guys, compensation-wise, for those that are employed and receiving compensation from your employer, would you be open to receiving your pay in the form of, I'll give you 3 options: continuing in digits directly deposited into your account, because I would imagine no one actually gets a physical check in hand unless you're a contractor or something like that. So everyone gets direct deposit. And if you notice, direct deposit came into play strong over the last 10 plus years. And so I remember myself, everything I do is directly deposited. So it's not much of an option anymore, because employers, especially, major employers, don't give you check, never give you cash unless it's something that's under. But continue direct deposit in the form of digits in your national currency, wherever you're located at, metals, or crypto. So if you had 3 options to receive your compensation, would you continue to receive it the way you are now, or would you choose to opt out and receive it in all 3 or 2 or just 1, or what? Let me know in the chat. I'm curious to find out, just because I think that that topic, or this topic rather, in the next couple of days, meaning years, will definitely be something that we're going to be talking about, because your employers may not give you the option, but you may have the option to take it to your employer to ask to be compensated in something other than just digits in the form of your national currency. Especially as more of this cryptocurrency adoption is being pushed, there will be more companies coming out with ways of you actually being paid in other ways. So the question is, would you want to do it? And is it too early now to get started in doing it some other way? So let me know in the chat. I want to find out. We got Dusty from Rio Grande Valley. Welcome. And so Brian has a question. It says, hey, Mike, quick question. Is gold a tier 1 asset now or not? Brian, according to the Bank of International Settlements, based upon some recent shifting around of the wording behind gold, it has been, I guess, categorized now as a tier 1 asset that can be considered 100% asset in regards to it being a reserve on banks' balance sheets. So it used to be 50%, now it's 100%. So basically, it has been returned to where it has always been, but just now recategorized from a banking standpoint. So I guess it will be considered that. Not sure why they did that, apart from the fact that every government, every central bank outside of this region are up in their weight in metals, and it so happens to be gold. And of course, we know silver as well, but we hear more about gold. So yes, it is a bank asset now that can probably be acquired by smaller commercial banks and actually be considered as collateral or reserves, just in case they need to back up some of those digits or numbers or paper, which I don't think they would do anyway. So, good question. Spirit says, Mike, can you elaborate on how you think politicians should be held accountable? For example, should the morons that manipulate the fiat monetary system be not held accountable? How? Spirit, great question. And so my personal opinion is that every political figure that's a part of this Ponzi nature entity we're in should be held accountable. Now it's a matter of how, because the rule of law in a lot of instances no longer applies to those that are in the political realm. So I don't see any form of justice being handed out to anybody that's been a part of this Ponzi scheme nature of an economy / political system we're in. So I'm not sure what that will be. But if we were to use a certain document, and to my knowledge, nothing has really changed in regards to this document, apart from the fact it's not really implemented or really taught or preached or whatever. So let me find it. And so according to this document here, this would be considered the repercussion for dealing falsely with our national money supply. And so let me pull this up. So this would be a good way of, let me pull this up. So this here is from, if you type in Coinage Act of 1792 in Wikipedia and you scroll down to section 19 of the Act. So section 19 of Coinage Act of 1792 states here, the Act establishes a penalty of death for debasing the gold or silver coins authorized by the Act or embezzlement of the metals for those coins by officers or employees of the mint. This section of the Act apparently remains in effect and would, in theory, continue to apply in the case of any gold or silver coins which sank, whatever. So we no longer have gold and silver, but you see how serious, and I bring this up just to show you how serious the penalty was, 1792, for manipulating, or as it says here, debasing the gold and silver coins. So a couple hundred years ago, if you were caught debasing the coins by diluting the purity of the metal or the weight or tampering with the weight of it, you were subject to penalty of death. Now, not sure if that's something that will be in play and widely used or considered something people should do now, but I would imagine that just that whole nature of deliberately defrauding the world should have something that should be considered more than just a slap on the wrist. But that's just my thought. Spirit, let me know what you think. Hope that's not too harsh, but that is something that is still in law, according to Wikipedia, in reference to gold and silver coins. So I'll leave it at that. What else you got in the chat here? Jeff has an article for us. Jeff, you're right on time. Let me pull this up. And so I appreciate everybody taking time to join me this afternoon, looking to shift up the times a little bit to get some little earlier pre-talks in hopes of being able to have a little couch chat later this evening. And so let me see here. Okay, so Jeff, I'm going to put this on the screen. And so this says 60% of millennials don't have 500 in savings ahead of the next recession. And so this is not surprising at all. I remember Jeff, as well as just other people commenting on how critical and how dire straight our economy is as far as people having disposable income in general. And so I'm not sure what the percentages are, but it says here millennials. So that means everyone basically is 37, 38, 39 and younger are in this situation of not having enough disposable income because just, A, not making enough, and B, just the cost of sustaining a decent life now requires you to, spend a lot. So not surprised at all. And here's the thing: even if and when the recession is full blown, because according to all the statistics, we are currently in a slowdown. So a slowdown to me means a recession. When it hits full scale, what will $500 actually do for you apart from take care of your immediate needs, nevertheless any type of emergencies whatsoever? So a lot of people will be definitely on in a very bad position, but that's something that's been the case now for the last several years, so I'm not surprised with that at all. But let's keep it moving along in the chat. Got another article here. Let's see what's going on with this article here. Americans are in deep trouble to not save nothing from Paycheck. So yeah, this goes into even more of what's this? Says Americans are in deep trouble. 23% saving nothing from paychecks. Yeah, and that plays into because of the cost, and a lot of the younger generation are heavily influenced with this idea of keeping up with some type of status quo. The status quo meaning a newer vehicle and the bells and whistles, the luxuries of having the latest iPhones, luxury trip. I mean, just all the things that are not necessary for your lifestyle plays into this, as well as not having enough income in general. So not surprised at all that this is the case. Not surprised at all. Yeah, man. Good stuff there thus far in the chat. Appreciate that. It says, what else we got here? Metals and cryptos to start, the metals and whatever the next thing will be. Yeah, so back to the question. For those that are watching who may be tuning in late, I threw out a question about what would you want to receive your compensation in from your employer? Are you good to sticking with the direct deposits in the form of digital dollars? Or would you prefer to have some options or some alternatives in the form of some type of metal, or some type of metal allocated in the vault on your behalf, however, or cryptocurrency? So out of those three options there, which are and can be utilized for exchange of value to someone else, what would you prefer? Is there any particular order? What do you think? Put some thought towards that, because I believe as more of this crypto adoption is being pushed out, there's going to be ways of probably having the opportunity to receive some compensation for your direct labor, where you can charge people directly and have it an automated process where you receive compensation for your services via metals or crypto, just because there's more competition that's being put out now because of the push for adoption in just the crypto sector itself. Nevertheless, metals might be iffy just because of the weight aspect of having to store metals here or there, whatever. But there will be in there actually already are debit cards where you can have it deposited into a vault on your behalf, and you can swipe it and receive and utilize it as if it's a normal card, but it's backed by metals in a vault somewhere. So a lot of things play into that as far as trust or whatnot, but curious to find out your thoughts. So it says, Frank, it says the IRS accepts Bitcoin but not gold as payment. You tell me what the payment system will be. Frank, that's a good point there. So I wasn't even aware. So does the IRS actually receive or accept Bitcoins for payment? I haven't come across that option, but not surprised at all. So that plays into the whole deliberate nature of the blockchain happened to be introduced in a currency format right at this particular time in history, as we are being transitioned after this last 10 years of issues with our current monetary system. So it doesn't surprise me at all. What else is going on here? We got IRS doesn't accept cash right now. Doesn't accept cash. True. And that's the thing. And so, as I mentioned, the three options: direct deposit, which has nothing to do with cash. It's just digital dollars placed into your account, and it's all debits, credits on ledgers, but not actually physical. So we're going to be pushed out of physical and into more digital. So the question is, do you choose to go into the new, some semi-new, so-called decentralized chain, or do you stick to what we have now, where there will be a need and a desire to get into physical cash, but I don't think they're going to be much going around, because it will become very valuable for a short period of time, I believe. So Scott said gold. He'd rather have gold. So you rather get paid in gold 100%, or like do a split, like say 50% digital dollars, 30% metals, 20% crypto, or something like that. How would you break it up if that was the case? So Spirit says vehicles, ? Young people nowadays are starting to live in pods and tents. They have no hope at all, the system of society. Yeah, so and another thing is a lot of younger generation are being conditioned to accept what they call more affordable housing, or those tiny houses. So a lot of people, even I have an interest in a tiny house just because the things are, they're just compact and cheap and everything else. And so for me, apart from I couldn't do it because I have a family, but if I was single, I wouldn't mind starting off in a tiny house if I could save a little bit and have a little extra left over, as opposed to overextending myself with a mortgage into a house that is probably already overpriced, overvalued, and bound for correction come this next housing situation. So 2000, welcome. It says, so gold, silver. So it looks like 2020 would want a gold and silver allocation. It says, Brian says 30% gold, 20% silver, 20% crypto, and 30% paper. So Brian, paper would be a good option if you could have that choice, but paper is not an option. You got to be direct deposited in the form of digital dollars. It says, I'm a truck driver. I literally have $300 a month in bills. Oh man, well you doing? I mean, if you only got $300 a month in bills, you're doing pretty good, my friend. 100%. So 2000 said 100%. To gold, 100% gold. So 2000, in Iran, what is the, because the real is not of any retaining value. So is it easy to get your hands on investable grade gold bullion coins rounds in Iran? Is it easy, or is it very difficult? Because I imagine over here in the U.S., we got buy gold shops, sell your coin shops, especially in Detroit. On every major corner, there's a sell your gold shop, it looks like, because obviously people know the value of it and the necessity to have it as much as they can. So they're basically conning the people with these blowball prices. Low blood pressure says 50% silver, 50% silver certificate. Okay, that's a different option. Now, the silver certificate at this current moment and even moving forward is not of real monetary value apart from a historical piece, because once again, you can have all the silver certificates you want, but nobody on the other end recognize it as being redeemable for silver. So not sure if you're going to get your fair worth of value from it. It says, here in Tehran, we all hold gold. I got cash, need more gold. Scott, I hear you. That's good, man. It's good to see that people actually get their hands on it, because, currencies, you guys, the case you guys have is very interesting. And a state. Let me see. We got a new article here. Let's find out what this is. Close out some of these old articles. As always, if people are interested, the phone lines are open if you want to call and let your voice be heard. I wouldn't be opposed to that. So here's an article here. Let me see. Here's the article here, and it says, this is from Business Insider, and it says, Office, let me close this. I can't even read it. No thanks. Office Depot is closing 50 stores. See if your store is one of on the list. So where are they located at? Let me see. Office in California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Michigan. So here we have one on Telegraph Road in Southfield, Michigan. I think I know where that's at. North Carolina, New Jersey, Tennessee, Washington, Wisconsin, Arizona, Florida, Michigan, Dearborn. I do know where that one's at. That's over there by Fairlane Mall. I know where that one's at. So yeah, so 50 stores right there, and a lot of California stores. Definitely not good, because that 50 stores, as I always like to factor in the the possible amount of employees at that location. So if it's 50 stores times a minimum of 10 people that work there, 50 times 10, a lot of people unemployed for such an up and casual closure of stores. And so even I'm surprised. That's because it's Office Depot. So yeah, there's one not far from me that is always empty. It's maybe they got 2 employees there, and it's never anybody there. So I'm wondering, like, as an owner, I'm not sure if that's a franchise or if that's owned by corporate or whatever, but that thing is always empty. So I'm wondering exactly who shops there, because I go there on dire emergency for office equipment stuff. But that's just out of the fact that I pretty much have nowhere else to go for my immediate need. And so here's an article here that's not about housing, it's about pods. So let me see what this is. Oh wow. Oh hell no. So yeah, this is different. So these pods, young people are choosing to live in pods instead of apartments. So pods looks like a concentration camp type environment, if you ask me, apart from the harsh conditions. But you have these little bunk beds. So it looks like we got a guy sitting here in a bunk bed, and people are just in a little community gathering. No privacy, no security, no nothing, just you in a wide open space amongst your neighbors. And so I wonder, I imagine there has to be a price advantage to this, because I'd assume, depending on where you're at, it could be considered affordable living to shack up in a room with bunk beds with other people. Because if you're just, use it to sleep at, you come and go, park your stuff there. My man right here has a bunk bed and stuff, bags all underneath his bunk. If you got some privacy, you're young, you're single, you're ambitious, you're trying to do something with your life. If it's easy for you to get in, get out, and it's cheap, it looks like that might be what people are considered doing. So it doesn't surprise me at all, to say the least. It says, because to keep moving, it says, because you in 18 months, 1,200 ounce silver or 10 ounces of gold. Thanks, Mike, for all. Tell us. Okay, let me see. The question. So I'm not sure of the question there. Scott, let me know what you're referring to is about 18 months and 1,200 ounce silver. Cough is gone. You didn't need to get vaxxed. Yeah, so that last night, I'm not sure what happened, but as soon as I hit live stream, I just started coughing, and I couldn't stop it. And so for whatever reason, just the last 2 days in the evening, when it's time to go to bed time frame, I just be coughing. Yeah, so don't feel sick, feel fine, but for whatever reason, the cough, and even right now as I talk, as I gather myself, I feel like a little, do I want to cough? But I don't want to. But a lot of families outside to help. So what else we got here in the chat? Wonder if DACA is available. Just had some family members coming to visit, and we bought 10 ounces of coin. So just had you had family coming to visit, and you bought, and he bought me 10 ounces of gold. Really? So you had a family member come visit you, and they bought you 10 ounces of gold. That's pretty serious. Now, what is the Iranian rial price for a single ounce of gold at this current moment? Let me know in the chat. I'm curious to find out. And so definitely I'd imagine it's more expensive in paper terms for you than it is here in the US, where it's right above 1,300, or right below 1,300 rather, which is cheap in my opinion compared to where it's going. For other 5% customers pull money for a 4th straight year. Ooh, okay. So here's something else interesting. This is on an investment front, and so this is out of Zero Hedge. It says Franklin Templeton pairs workforce by 5%. Let me read this a little bit. 5% as customers pull money for a 4th straight year. So it looks like there might be some concern there if investors are pulling their money. Let me see. It says the old school value investor that has experienced 4 straight years of investor outflows as customers defected to low-cost passive ETFs will cut 5% off his staff to goose profits by saving $75 million. So Franklin Templeton will be cutting overhead because more of their investors are deciding to opt out of those old archaic ways of having people either directly manage or just the high and excessive fees of managing people's funds. They're doing something, as they say here, the low-cost passive ETFs, which are leaving them with a lot of overhead in the form of employees. So they're making some cuts. I wonder what the number might be. Or it says 5% of workforce. I wonder what that looks like in total. So, okay, here we have, it says the company started with a voluntary buyout offers to eligible U.S. employees at age 50 or older who have at least 10 years of experience with the company. So I'm assuming this is Franklin Templeton. Firm has nearly 10,000 employees. So they're shaving off 5%. So that puts us at about 500 employees. So it looks like Franklin Templeton, an investment firm, is shaving off 500 people by offering buyouts. And so we know how that goes when you're restructuring. You give them an opportunity to be bought out, taking an early settlement or something like that. Or if they choose to be stubborn, you say, you know what, I gave you an offer. Now we're going to just boot you. So we'll see you later. And so this is Franklin Templeton. This is just one financial firm that we know of. And I imagine there's a lot more out there that are having the same issues that we may not hear about. And so this is just more signs of the true state of the economy as more companies look to lighten their load and responsibilities by laying off. It says what we got here. And he found me like that. Hey, I kind of missed the last live chat and wanted to say that I heard someone say that Roman soldiers got paid a dime for a day's wage. Ronald. Yeah, so that statement there about the actual salary or payment for a day's wage, I think Crystal Wayne on his channel in one of his old videos from years and years ago referenced that a day's wage was that of a dime, the size of a dime. And so that was during that time frame, and him showing the value of silver and how undervalued it is now if we were to use somewhat of a same measurement of weight for a day's wage today. If the world wasn't so hyperinflated in digits and paper, debt-based notes, the amount of value would get out of silver would still equate to an hour wage. So right now an ounce of silver is, what is it? $15 an hour. So we know the push for $15 an hour. And so right now the minimum wage, whatever you might be 10, 9, 10. So if you would equate that in weight terms, so basically a half an ounce for an hour's worth of work in this environment here won't do much for you. But rewind that 100 years ago, or 100 years ago for sure, a day's wage would have been, $15 a day if you were in a good field of choice. So I think that had to do with Crystal Wayne. It says, Cash Bar. It says, we never want tiny love Cash Bars, that new currency. Cash Bars. Not sure what that is. Cash Gold, the code Gold Notes. Mike's head is blending with the web page. Yeah, that's due to, I can fix that. That's due to a little bit of a filter. So let me see if I can correct that a little bit. Nope, that might be as good as it gets. Blending into my background. Yeah, man, that's what it is. It says, please, no more sanctions, USA. Yeah, sanctions. So 2000. Give me a nickname for you so I can shorten up just giving you two large numbers. I'm curious to find out, the sanctions and what the talk is like on your side from the mainstream media there, as well as what you know about outside of the obvious of the impact of sanctions, how it's destroyed your economy there. Let us know what the thoughts are as far as what the new thought of sanctions and the whole oil situation and what's life like there when it comes to that. Let me know in the chat. I'm curious to find out. It says the denarius. Mike, boil a medium to large pot of water to moisten the air and move possible pollen, possible solution to cough. Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I would definitely take that to heart there. It requires a little effort and a little work on my part, but I can do that. It says, how come Trump has yet to abolish the Federal Reserve? People think he's an outsider, good guy, but I think he's just another Rothschild Israel. What do you think? Nano Joe, as I mentioned, I think it was last night, about clearly his continuous actions of continuing to interfere in the world events is ruining our reputation and the dependency on the dollar. So I think everything he's doing is a deliberate push to force nations out and away from our national currency, as well as just basically funding our nation by buying treasuries. So I think he's deliberately destroying the dollar, which will then immediately impact the pressure on the Federal Reserve. And so I think right now the Federal Reserve is scrambling to try to prepare for, in the best way they can, the next line of policy for the recession that's inevitable, which will definitely impact the dollar. So I think all that will be interconnected to where there will be the need to issue something that will be utilized as a medium of exchange for the people, because the dollars are tied into confidence. So when confidence is gone, there's no need to actually hold those instruments of debt, especially if people don't want them. So I don't think he'll be ending the Fed. I think he wants to try to point the blame on the Fed, because by all this external pressure, all points back to the issuers of the currency. So he'll be able to say it's central banking fault, it's the Fed's fault. We need to either get rid of them or issue something else. So I'm not quite sure, but he's deliberately destroying the credibility of our nation outside of what was already taking place and speeding things up faster, in my opinion. And so I got another another article here. It's getting bad. Yeah, I don't doubt it. 2000 says it's like the old generation plus 40, say U.S. Trump gave golden heights to Israel against all international laws. Low blood pressure, definitely. That's always something to do behind the scenes. Some type of back deals or something was taken out, I would imagine, but not sure. Omnibus says the new Fed. What would that look like, and what are they trying to issue? Because apart from the whole central banking model is proving to only be good for basically indebting central governments, or governments rather. So with that being the case, I don't think we need a new Fed. I think we need to, I don't think the politicians aren't able to actually handle the economy itself, because none of our political figures actually know anything about economics and how it works on a global standpoint. So to turn back over our monetary affairs to the Treasury, and they're all central bankers and too big to fail bank former employees themselves, I don't think it's no way of even trying to really put things back in order under this current paradigm. The only thing I could see as being a more open and transparent way of managing our finances, and a lot of people may not want to hear this, but it will have to be in some way where trust can be reestablished. And as of now, what looks like the only system that can be utilized, because it can be apparent to everybody the true nature of all the financial dealings of our currency, would be some type of open ledger, blockchain based type of system that would provide transparency, because you can actually follow and trace the numbers. And so if that was something that would be suggested or even put forth, it would be welcomed by the government. But if the people had a choice to vote, that would be our best alternative in the meantime, because we will never be able to see what really goes on behind closed doors. But with some type of blockchain based technology, we could see, if we knew that this certain address belonged to the Treasury, we can see everything they do with it, with what goes in and goes out, which could provide confidence for those that have interest even monitoring what their dealings are. So that's just my thoughts there. But it says, what's up, Mike? Callie from the Philippines. Jack from the Philippines. How you doing, my friend? How's life over there? You probably are, it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock here. What time is it there? I would assume it's about, midnight or after midnight your time, give or take. Let me know. It says Bitcoin is and will be the new Fed, Omni. It could be. It could be utilized in the short term, especially because. But once again, the people may accept it and recognize it, but the institutions won't, from the government standpoint, because if they can't create as much as they want out of thin air, they're not going to go for that. And what else? And as always, for those that are watching, I appreciate you guys tuning in this afternoon chat. We probably won't be much longer because these are going to be shorter. Just want to see what's happening, what's main stories are happening right now, and have you guys share your thoughts. Phone lines are open if you want to call in. Number above my head if you're interested. More importantly, if you've enjoyed the back and forth and just being able to connect midday, don't be afraid to throw a little thumbs up in the chat so people can find out what we're doing over here, and we can keep this thing moving. So, got a question that says, Mike, hope you didn't skip the article again. Anyway, you can protect against crypto thieves easily. If people knew how and did the work, lazy crypto holders aren't as safe as they think. Lazy crypto holders aren't as safe as they think. What article is that? Okay, here's an article. Let me see what article we're referring to. All right, so here's something out of Wired. It says a blockchain bandit is guessing private keys and scoring millions. So my thing would be, how can you guess unless you're using some type of, you got to be very, very good to guess. And so it says here, it says, what if Ethereum owners store their digital money with a private key, the unguessable 78-digit string of numbers that protects the currency stashed at a certain address that had a value of 1. Yeah, so that's a whole different topic right there, but I will be interested in talking about that if you guys have interest. So we have a caller. Let's find out what's going on. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, bro. This is Joe from California.
Joe from California.
I love your show. It's freaking awesome. Happy you're doing it in the daytime so I could actually catch it.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you calling in. What's on your mind today?
Your listeners, I just want them to hear a digibyte. That's the way to go. You're not talking about it, and I never hear you talk about it.
Yeah. Digibyte. And so, yeah, I've mentioned it before. I'm a fan, and I'm aware of it, and I know they have a lot of nice and useful tech coming off of that particular blockchain there. So I am aware of it. So what has you the most excited about digibyte, though?
It's the tech and long-standing. That's where it's at. Digibyte. That's where it's at. It's the next big one. I think we should all hop on and maybe it might take a dip coming up, but in the long run, I think Digibyte.
Now watch. So Digibyte right now is about a penny. So a penny for one coin. Now, in your opinion, of course, you sound like you're favoring you're a Digibyte enthusiast. So I appreciate the energy behind it. How high do you think it could actually go for one coin? If it hits $1, I'll be stoked. But I'm not. I mean, I don't think any time in the near future. But in the long run, like I said, in the long run. In the long run, sounds good, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling in. And yeah. Thank
you for taking my call. Much appreciated. You.
My pleasure.
Good work.
My pleasure, my friend. Thanks. Yeah, man. So we have a Digibyte enthusiast there, and so I Digibyte is definitely recognize it and am aware of it. So definitely it's one of the things where you can't go wrong with Digibyte because it has such a large community, and Digibyte is one of those small penny coins, or depending on how you look at it. I also look at it as like a little penny stock because buy it that in reference to the stock nature of it being something that is community based. So because it has a large following, you're basically investing in the growth of that community, in my opinion. So I do recognize that. So thanks for calling and sharing that. It says, Mike, what are your thoughts of FedEx layoffs and buyouts? So Jeff, I wasn't aware of FedEx layoffs and buyouts. So let me actually look this one up. Because if that is the case, I'm definitely curious to find out some details about that. So let me space this out. Try to see if there's anything new. Staying on the ground, decisions of volunteer buyout. So so here's an article here from the Daily Memphian. And so, not familiar with the Daily Memphian, but here's an article here from the Daily Memphian. It says, staying or going, FedEx nears decisions on voluntary buyouts. So this is as of March 31st. So it says today, on April 1st, is the deadline for eligible employees to apply for buyouts, and the company will tell who's leaving and when on April 22nd. So as of this Monday, FedEx were, I guess, making an announcement as to who they'll be willing to buy out. So the buyout is part of a cost-cutting program. So here's another word, cost-cutting program. I usually say restructuring. Announced in December, they are designed to trim. They're trying to trim $225 million to $275 million a year off of payroll. So cost-cutting program. So that's a different way of calling it, but basically a firing across the board. So I me personally, and let me know what you guys think in the chat. If you guys are in a sector, and it looks like it's a lot of international corporations that are basically have been strategically placed all across the globe. Like the problem, like we got the GEs, we got the banks, we got all those companies that have thousands on their payroll. And as things slow down, there's going to be more companies, big and small, that will do more cost-cutting measures. And so if you're given a early buyout opportunity, that's the sign to me right there that if you don't accept that, you will be probably on the chopping blocks and get nothing. So I'd imagine this year, as I mentioned a couple months ago, if you go back to our prior RT Live talks, that we're going to hear more restructuring, as well as this newer words, cost cutting, mentioned. So, and these are starting all at corporations that are international. So once the international corporations cut back, that's going to trickle into the smaller ones that usually do business with these mega corporations, and then they're going to be doing some restructuring / cost cutting as well. So this year will pan out to be a very cost cutting year for a lot of organizations, in my opinion. Which, and so hear me. So I'm noticing a trend, and noticing this trend to get ahead of the trend would let me know that right now might be the time to start spreading out my roots a little bit into some other things, which will probably be more risk taking on your part, but it'll be better to put things a little bit more in your favor and in your hands than to rely upon your employer in this current environment we're in now. So that's just something to think about, man. So spreading your tentacles as many places as you can so that you won't be isolated to just one thing, what might be your best option if you have not already done that, in my opinion. But keep it moving right along. We probably go a couple more minutes at the least, and so go from there. But on air for about 40 minutes or so. So about the dollar back right there. Got to get to some more things myself. But what else we got here? I sold 100 Digibyte down to 1,000, 100,000 to 1,000, and bought Tron to stake and early daily. So Tron, you can stake and earn daily. Really, I didn't know about that. Omni, I'm curious about the Tron nature. I just for the first time got some Tron yesterday, and so wasn't aware that you can stake it. So that's something different. I hate to just hold and not get anything from it, but hope on a rise. It says 575 million in FedEx buyouts. Really, 575 million. Ooh, so that's almost, man, that's a lot of money that people are just being offered. So you'll be a fool not to take it now, because if you don't take it now, you won't get it when it's a guaranteed cut. Turkey uses waves for one. Yeah. I remember you mentioned that before. Stopping sanctions on Iran will do nothing as long as Iran's central bank keeps printing. Yeah, but they're doing it in the best way. They're doing it to basically, keep their government funded, I'd imagine. But we have our very last call, and then we're going to end on this note here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Mike. This is Spirit King. I'm calling from Portugal.
Spirit King calling from Portugal. How you doing? What's on your mind, Spirit?
Well, I wanted to elaborate a little bit on that previous article.
Okay.
About Bitcoin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the thing you want to realize is that there are a lot of wallets out there. So you see many sites creating wallets for each customer, and multiple times they renew the wallets, some every day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of wallets there. Like for each person that actually uses crypto, probably there is 1,000 wallets out there.
Yeah.
So what happens is that when you create a wallet, you are asking your computer essentially to generate a random number, and that becomes your key to your wallet. Imagine if you repeat that process as fast as you can. Imagine if you start using the GPUs and all that mining software, but instead of mining, you are trying to generate new keys and getting their address.
Yeah.
So for each number, it represents a private key, and then you have to calculate the wallet address. So what happens is you look at the blockchain. As you know, it's decentralized, so the information is open for everyone to read. So you collect all the wallets that have money. So now you know what wallets to look at, and then you put all your computing power just generating wallets and seeing if you guessed one which had actual money there. The reality is there is software, there are groups on the online and things like that where many people are collaborating to search for these keys and steal that money, because it's as easy as guessing a random number.
Okay, watch this. Spirit, hold on 1 second. Let me switch you up because volume-wise, it says you're low. So I want to have you share that because I heard you, but it'd be hard. Go ahead. Now, give me a quick summary of that, because I can hear you, but a lot of people can't. So break it down. Simplify what you're saying about how easy it is to come up with numbers to basically steal people's funds.
Yes, essentially it's a lottery game, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You try to guess a number, and maybe that number represents the key to a wallet which has money on it. So if you try to guess as many numbers as you can, then you might find out a wallet with actual money there. So it's essentially what happens every time you open your software and create a new wallet, for instance, for a cold wallet.
Yeah.
You think you are safe because you generated that on your computer, perhaps you even disconnected from the internet and all that, and you wrote it down or printed it, and you think you are safe. But you aren't, because someone out there might guess it. It's not a targeted attack like I want to find out Mike's wallet address. That's much difficult. But it's something that at any time, anywhere, someone might guess your key and withdraw everything you have in there. So even if it's a cold wallet, it needs more secure procedures, or it can be stolen just like that.
Yeah. Now, okay, so basically what you're saying is because there's so many wallets out there, it's becoming easier to just populate random numbers that could possibly be someone's code. Now, my question would be, it has to be in a certain order. So, I mean, apart from having some type of software that we can just randomly create as many digits and numbers and whatever as possible, the chance of you getting the direct order of all those digits to be able to then know which wallet to go to, that right there. Yeah.
Don't think about it as an ordered number. In reality, it's just a number. So you start with 1, then you go to number 2, to number 3, etc. It's a very large number, but it's how that works, okay? So the letters in the wallets and all that look all jumbled, but they are actually representing just a very large integer number, okay?
Yeah.
So what happens is they split the work. There are pools, there are people, there are groups, and what they do is we have 10 members, so they look at the very largest number possible, and they divide it by 10, and each one will process their own split. And then they add some randomness and track all this, so no one. Okay, so they are efficient up to that level.
Yeah.
This hasn't been happening for a long time, and it seems now media has got attention. But I can assure you, it's not a lone thief out there. I can tell you, 6 months ago, I tried the software. It was super easy to install on my computer.
Yeah.
And if I paid, they even allowed me to use the GPU, but it was essentially using my CPU to guess people's wallets. I did not find, and I didn't expect to find anything, but that's a gamble, just like mining is. You might be mining for a year and not mine a single block if you are unlucky. Or you might just mine on them.
You might come up with something. Yeah.
So it's not safe if you have a cold wallet and you don't protect it further. It can disappear from a moment to another.
Yeah. Well, Spirit, man, hey, and definitely, you know, some people in the chat mentioning that, you know, it'll take a long time to do that, but definitely, my thought is, if man created it, definitely man can find a way to manipulate or steal or destroy it. So I would never say that that's not impossible, because once again, all this technology we're talking about is somebody's invention. And if somebody's invention, they can also figure out a way to undo or unravel or whatever based upon how evil they are. So, Spirit, man, appreciate you for calling in and joining us on this afternoon stream. But I'm going to end it right there and say goodbye to everybody. So, Spirit, appreciate you.
Thank you. Goodbye, Mike.
Have a good one. So, yeah, so that's good, man. And it's one of the things where, you know, I would never say it's impossible, because if mankind can come up with it, then they can definitely find a way to, you know, use it for their own benefit at the detriment of others. So, but with that being the case, people, we almost close to an hour, much longer than I was planning on going, but the conversation was good back and forth. Everybody be blessed, be safe as always. Give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind. Show your support for the channel. More importantly, take advantage of some of the resources down beneath this video, as well as those that are interested in getting their weight up. Join the gold team and we can do it together. Other than that, be safe, be blessed. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.